Hey friends, it's UrsulasRevenge, and welcome back to Star Stable. It's not Wednesday, but we kind of do technically have an update video for you. So it's kind of no secret, it's well known at this point that sometimes things just aren't said in the news. Whether or not this is just due to miscommunication on the team or some larger reason why they maybe don't want to add something, maybe they're not ready to discuss it or something, maybe they just add small changes and hope that we don't notice. I don't actually know, but it's become so frequent and so common that I think that I might need to start doing secondary update videos for the things that we notice after the Wednesday update that have also been changed. I don't know if we're gonna give this a specific name like Sneaky Snatterday or something. Nope, Snatterday. What's Snatterday? I don't know if we're gonna give this a special name like Sneaky Saturday, but either way, there's a couple of things that I've noticed over the past couple of weeks that were not mentioned in the news. A lot mostly that happened this week. So let's talk about some of the things I've noticed after this Wednesday's update. And most of them are in Moorland. So we know that big changes are coming to Moorland. They kind of announced it in the news when they moved all of these starter level 1 new horses to Moorland from Fort Pinta. And they've made some other small changes that we've also documented in the Wednesday updates, such as adding a hair salon, which was mentioned. But there's a couple of other things that have been mentioned, or that have been added without being mentioned, including a new pet shop. So these two pets, there's a new dog and a new cat, are available for sale now in Moorland. This was not announced. These are new as of this Wednesday. Just didn't get around to noticing it. To be honest, I just didn't come to Moorland when I did the update video, so I didn't know. Also in the Wednesday update video, I talked about these Rex Stamper saddlebags. This is the shop that you get it. This is actually the shop where you get all of the Rex Stamper stuff and sort of like the basic colored saddle pads and matching tack and stuff. But this is where the saddlebags are sold in addition to the global shop. Another thing that I kind of also wanted to point out, this also was in the news. I think I had mentioned it previously that now Moorland has a horse stylist. It's kind of the goal to make Moorland a little bit more of a central hub, or at least like a decent hub when you start, because originally they didn't really have any amenities and it kind of almost forced you to move your home stable and spend your star coins on some place that did have more. So they're trying to make it a little bit more so you don't feel required to leave Moorland. Especially if there's people playing that only get access to Moorland. They should have access to more things. And one more thing that I've noticed, and I posted this one on Tumblr, not so much talked about on YouTube, mostly because I forgot, but the Chore board has also moved in Moorland. So originally it was over here by Maya because I would accidentally click on John every time I wanted to go get a chore, but now it is over here. It's actually a lot better. And it looks a lot more open over here now too. So I think that all of these little changes are going to be adding up to bigger changes that are going to be happening in Moorland. And this is actually partly evidenced by something that I read in the news. Not this news, a couple weeks ago. So on March 6th, the update titled A Championship Saga, they announced that the horses that were in Fort Pinta would be moving to Moorland. They specifically say, "This spot isn't permanent. We are working on building these horses an even better home in Moorland, but can't say when the construction will be complete." We know that this spot here, where some of the players get some tutorial quests, where the horses currently are next to Justin, this isn't the permanent spot, and I know that I've mentioned this before, but they have to build something new for those horses, and to be honest, the way that Moorland is kind of laid out right now, I don't know where that's going to be. It seems like if they wanted to move it to the Jorvik riding camp, they would have just originally put them there. So I don't think that that's the answer. I don't think they're going to be building up the Jorvik riding camp any more than it already is, because it's one, brand new. They probably would have done it already before it came out. And two, I mean, that's just kind of like a tutorial area. It doesn't really need amenities because you very quickly get to Moorland, where you do get more amenities. So I feel like I don't want to just kind of put words in their mouth, but this feels like we might eventually get a Moorland 2.5 update. I don't think that they're going to completely overhaul, but then again, I don't know. They've gotten rid of so many other walls. I don't know if they're going to keep the walls of this vestibule area, because this is no longer the tutorial area. After you start in, I keep wanting to call it Camp Western, but it's not Camp Western. In Jorvik Riding Camp, after you do your tutorial there on learning how to ride, only then do you come to Justin to finish up the rest of the tutorial. So these gates that lock you in here for the tutorial don't need to ever be locked. They don't need to be unlocked or anything because you walk yourself in here. So I don't think that these walls here are necessarily even needed anymore. So if they knock down all these walls, we're gonna get a lot more space to, I guess, add more things. Cause like behind here, you do have like the championship area, you do have Miss Holdsworth house, but you also have like a lot more open space. Like I think that maybe Moorland can be expanded into more of like a hometown looking area, kind of like how Silverglade does. There's just like a lot of like open pathways that I think that they could expand Moorland to kind of fit better. And this way also, maybe this hair salon isn't so temporary looking. Maybe these pets don't look so cramped here next to this shop. Maybe the horse stylist doesn't just kind of block this alleyway here. Like I feel like that's a fire hazard, I'm not gonna lie. So I feel like the way that they've been updating Moorland by adding more amenities just feels very temporary. And I feel like something bigger is coming to Moorland. I just don't know exactly what or when. But I'm excited to see what happens when they eventually decide to bring it up. Because again, this stuff wasn't really in the news. It was just kind of added here. And I mean, this part of the speculation isn't one for one. I'm not a game developer, I'm not a game designer, but I am a graphic designer. And a lot of the times when it comes to my professional work as a packaging designer and merchandising designer, I've had to deal with a lot of temporary fixes. And I know that, again, this isn't one for one, but sometimes you just have to put something in and say, that's good enough until you actually have time to make the bigger change. And I see that that could possibly be happening in Moorland here, where they just need to put something down and they know that they're going to change it eventually. So even if the placement doesn't make perfect sense, it's there, it's functional, and they can open it up and change it again later relatively soon. You don't make a temporary change unless you know when the permanent change is coming. So I have a feeling that, I mean, we already know that they are actively working on where to put the horses next. So maybe Moorland 2.5 update is already in the works. Again, we don't know. This is completely speculation. I feel like it's Sneaky Saturday and Speculation Saturday. I don't know. I feel like there's so much more going on, and that's probably why they didn't put it in the news, because they're not ready to talk about it. But I at least wanted to point out that these are some of the things that I've noticed that haven't been mentioned. There's one more thing that I did notice after the fact that was technically possibly in the news, but vaguely stated. So in the past couple of weeks, we've noticed that there have been some changes to the Bobcats races. These have been mentioned in the news. The first week, what the races that were changed were the two races around Moorland Stables itself, Tans and the other NPCs that I can't remember her name. I think it's Sophia, but maybe I'm wrong. Then the week after that, it was Loretta's two races up to Nilmer's Highland that got a special Bobcats treatment with some more banners. But now I've just noticed, and I don't know if this was last week's update too, because again, they didn't say which races were updated. They just said some Bobcats races. But I noticed this week that the Bobcats jumping courses, the 3 that Stacy hosts, actually I guess it's technically 4 because there's a special one on Friday, Saturday. They also have gotten even more Bobcats themed. So originally it was just kind of like the pink poles, and there's still the pink poles, but now in the far back turns in like the fences, there's breaks in the fences now that have the pink Bobcats banners that we see at the championships also. I think those are all the Bobcats races, so I think those are done being updated. And I guess also technically not in the news, we do have a new Western Girls series code. This is code 4 out of 8. The problem is, by the time I'm recording this, I don't know what the code is. So I've watched the video, I've tried a bunch of times to figure out what the code is, I've looked at the comments, and none of the codes work. So Star Stable has confirmed that there is a code in the video if we listen carefully. I'm hoping that by the time I go to edit this, I know what the code is, so if I do, here it is. And of course, between videos, I will be posting all of the codes that I find over on my Tumblr, so you can check it out there if you've missed any. So anyways, that is all I really wanted to talk about. If you enjoy these sort of like extra update videos of things that we didn't even know were updates, let me know, because I think that they could be useful, especially if I'm trying to, or at least my goal is to document all of the changes every week with the game, so that we can kind of go back and say like, hey, when did this thing change? I think that it's kind of helpful, because by the time that the Wednesday updates roll around, sometimes I forget the extra things that have happened. and I just kind of want to focus on what's like strictly new. Also so that those videos are a little bit more concise, because sometimes they do get kind of long. Let me know if there's anything else that you've noticed that has changed that hasn't been in the news, because, I don't know, I like talking about all these secret things. It's like being on a scavenger hunt I didn't know I was on. Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video like this. I do try to cover every Wednesday update and more, and I will see you all at next week's Wednesday update. Bye!